Over the last week, I've been using the original Apple Watch, the first series ever made.
Can you hear me?
Using it in every scenario from errands to working out. Ever since Tim Cook announced the Apple Watch, it changed the industry, not just for smartwatches, but also fitness trackers.
And it's also a comprehensive health and fitness device.
I wanted to see if I could use this 8-year-old first generation Apple Watch now in 2023. It's Monday and this is fresh from a factory reset. The battery's at 100%. So first thing is downloading the apps I regularly use and change it to list view instead of this grid layout. But
we are stuck with this grid view. I personally on my Apple Watch always use list view, but I guess it just doesn't have it. It hasn't been out yet.
I go back to see how my apps are doing, and this time I noticed that so many of my apps were not showing up. That's because of how outdated the watch is. I'm especially bummed out that I won't have Spotify, but I can adjust to Apple Music.
Just from me downloading a couple songs into Apple Music, finding out that Spotify is not even compatible, I already used a third of the storage. This is the original charger that came with the first Apple Watch.
The charger isn't just long, it's even way taller than me. I could even jump rope with it. And that's great because I was gonna get ready to gym later today with my friend who was already on her way.
Please leave your message for Teresa Wilson.
On the way to the gym, we made one quick stop to Target. And then at the self-checkout, I realized that there was no Apple Pay. That has to be one of the most common used features. And up to this point, I've only been using the Apple Watch to look at notifications and tell the time. Entering the gym, I would normally check in with the Apple Watch, but again, I had to resort back to using the phone.
So I'm gonna get started with this workout. The Apple Watch shows 100%, which I don't know if that means that either the battery life is amazing or that just this watch is just messed up and it's not reading correctly.
The selection on the workout activities is also significantly less that I couldn't find one for the gym, so I opted with other.
The watch died right now. Workout was good, but the Apple Watch died like literally 5 minutes before the workout ended. Later today, I'm gonna go for a run, so I'm gonna get some work done at home, charge this guy up. So far, I know it's early, but it really feels like the Apple Watch isn't a standalone device. It feels very dependent to having an iPhone. And on top of that, it doesn't really mix that well with Apple's ecosystem.
What I mean is I wasn't able to unlock my MacBook with the Apple Watch or control the Apple TV. Next on my activities was to go for a run. Battery's up to 74%, and yes, it does have the outdoor run activity. Surprisingly though, the watch didn't have any hiccups. I do though miss the always on display, but that didn't come out until the Series 5, and anything Bluetooth like the AirPods, it actually syncs just fine. 5 miles done, and the battery life is still at 42%. The run was a success, but when it came to tracking your sleep, that was completely foreign when the Apple Watch came out. And even in the later years, when third-party apps came out with it before watchOS 5, the battery life was another issue. On the second day, I noticed even more things missing that I took for granted. Features like the camera remote app wasn't available, and that's where you can control your iPhone's camera from your wrist. And if you don't know about features like these, well, I got a whole video of Apple Watch hacks that you should probably watch, but after this video. Also, the Apple Watch was laggy with Carplay, but that's not a big deal. What's a big deal was going to the gym again, but this time to swim some laps, and realizing that the original Apple Watch is not waterproof. Some big wins that day would be that the call quality on the first Apple Watch is actually unbelievably good for 2015.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I'm in front. I was just trying to figure out like the simpler way to do it, but I don't even know.
Yeah, okay. I'll head out. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
It also works pretty well as an extension to your iPhone, so I use the Notes app as my grocery list, and the only thing I would say is if it could work a bit faster, like to wake up, that'd be great. Also, the always on display would come in clutch right about now.
So at the track just now, I thought my Apple Watch was dead, but it's not. It's actually because today's been probably one of the brightest days it's been all week. It's really sunny. I'm really noticing how dim the Apple Watch screen is. And I have the brightness, by the way, all the way at maximum, but it just doesn't compare to what we have now. Also, there's no GPS on the original Apple Watch. And the reason why I didn't notice this at first is because I had my phone with me. So the Apple Watch leeches off the iPhone for GPS. But today, since my iPhone's in the car, if you're running, there is no GPS. It almost seems like the Apple Watch is becoming less and less of a fitness watch now that I'm using it. I mean, there's no GPS, there's no sleep activity, and it's not waterproof either. But back in 2015, this was game changing. See, if I remember 2015 correctly, there were Android smartwatches, but they weren't mainstream. They didn't really grow in popularity. Back in that day, there was a lot of activity trackers. Nike Fuel Bands, Fitbits were definitely a thing. It wasn't until the Apple Watch came out that it really kick-started the whole smartwatch industry. And if you're a big fan of the Apple Watch, then check this playlist right over here. It's a full-on playlist of videos, including the one that I mentioned about Apple Watch hacks that you should definitely know of. And I got another video right over here, but I'll see you guys in the next one.